Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog in the animal.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beers. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my friend who will never, ever visit Gotham, Frank.
Hi, I'm never going there. You can't make me. Well, I mean, I went there once, but I'm never going back.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
What
So
happened?
much crime. How are you, my friend?
So much crime.
There was so much crime.
I am very good, as long as my cat doesn't take a swipe at my ankle again. Where are
Which
you,
he
cat?
very well might
He
do.
probably will, because the table is the table is high,
Yes.
and he's under, so I can't look under
Yeah.
to see where he is.
So naturally, he's like, "Give me attention. Here, let me bite you. Let me swipe at you."
I'm kind of living out Jaws right now.
Yep.
But with a house cat. I didn't realize the two would be comparable,
but they are.
but they are, because
Oddly.
one still causes pain. Hint, it's not Jaws.
Yeah. What kind of beer are you drinking today?
I am drinking a Guinness Nitro IPA.
Ooh.
Because it was still in my fridge, provided by our friend Dan.
And it's a delicious beer.
Yes, it is. It's very delicious. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking another delicious beer, and that is Jack's Abbey's House Lager. It's a very crisp and kind of light, but it's got some good.
You actually brought this to my house.
I did, yeah. And I'm a big fan of it. So yeah, brewed right here in Massachusetts.
You can tell people we're from Massachusetts.
They know that already.
They'll know we pay a lot of taxes.
It's true,
Because the state is Taxachusetts.
It is Massachusetts, yeah. But anyway, they're out of Framingham.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why it says Framingham on here.
Does it say that?
100 Clinton Street, Framingham, Mass. 01702.
Wow.
Yeah. I'd imagine they'd want people to know that because it's on the bottle or the can. I don't feel like I'm giving any major secrets away.
No.
Know what I am going to give away, though?
What?
My time to you.
Oh,
I know.
All right,
Also,
donating your time.
I'm going to spoil things for you and the audience.
So we watched a lot of television this season. A lot
Watch
of
the TLC.
TLC
Yeah, no.
vision. We watched a lot of superhero television this season, and
For you, the
Yep,
fans.
for you guys. And now that the TV season has wrapped up, we
Right.
thought we would give our thoughts on a number of basically the DC shows. Right. So you got your Gotham, you got your Flash, you got Arrow. You got Legends of Tomorrow. If you want Supergirl, we have a whole other podcast for that, supergirltvtalk.com. Go there. We talk about it at length.
Yeah.
But those other four shows,
Spoiler, it was good. We liked it.
we loved it.
Okay.
We interviewed some folks. It was great. But we've been watching our other shows, and we want to talk about those a little bit.
Great.
So let's do that. We also we gave our thoughts about Legends a little bit at Legends TV Talk, but we weren't on every episode. Tim and I weren't on every episode, so we're going to give our holistic season thoughts here.
Yeah.
So you want to start with Gotham?
Yeah, let's start with some coverage of things just so people know.
Okay.
We're not going to talk about Agent Carter.
Nope. Well, we're talking about DC.
Yeah. So Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. we're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about Lucifer or iZombie, which are also technically DC
That is
properties, but they are not in the superhero realm. Also, I have not finished them. Also, I have not started one of them.
I have not started either of them. So
iZombie is a lot of fun. Lucifer, I hear, is quite good, but I haven't watched it. Though I have been reading the book that DC's putting out right now, which is really good. I think you would actually really like it.
nice.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it. So anyway, I'll start with Gotham since you don't watch Gotham because
Let's go through the schedule like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, what a great idea! Yeah, okay. Monday, 8 p.m. Gotham on Fox. Rated PG-14. Yeah. It is. Is it? No.
I don't know. Yeah,
Rated
sure.
TV-14, not
TV-14,
PG-14.
yeah.
I knew that one didn't sound right. It was dumb. Anyway, so you watched the first season.
I did.
And so, which was not, it was a season.
Fine.
It was fine. That's exactly right. It was fine. You know, so this season they really ramped things up, and
So
I kind of came into the season going, okie dokie, like I'll give you a few, but if like I have better things to do with my time than sit for an hour to figure out like if I like you or not. So
Right.
I've done that with a lot of previous girlfriends. I don't need to do it with television.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
There we go. Let the jokes roll.
Hey yo,
Let them roll. They divided the season really into two segments. So you get 22 episodes or 23, whatever. But the first half of the season and the second half of the season are really two separate seasons in its own way. Which they really do connect kind of all the way at the end, but they tell complete stories within 11 episodes. So you're getting, there's no filler episode. You're getting complete stories through in and throughout, and characters are maybe more recognizable, and it has this now like it found its tone. It's got this offbeat macabre kind of thing to it, so you could laugh uncomfortably or you could actually be horrified about what you're watching. It definitely lives in the same kind of like, it's got like a Tim Burton-y, like it lives in that world of Batman, not so much in, it definitely does not live in the Christopher Nolan world of Batman.
Okay.
Which I think that's what they were trying to straddle at the beginning, and they were just like, you know what, that's not working, but people really respond when it's super weird. So let's just make it super weird, and woo, is it demented. It's like a fun house mirror thing. And so to take you through basically the Order of Saint Dumas. How familiar are you with when I say things like that?
Azrael.
Yeah, Azrael and all that stuff. So, spoilers for everything moving forward. Obviously, you wouldn't be listening if you didn't know that by now.
You better not be.
But I'm going to start.
You're lost if you are.
Goodbye. So the Order of Saint Dumas is kind of like infiltrating Gotham, and with this guy named Theo Gallivant and his sister, who is this woman named Tigress. That is not her real name. That is her comic book name,
right?
Obviously. And so basically the Gallivants are actually the Dumas, like the Dumas from way back, and the Order is trying to infiltrate Gotham to get at the Waynes and like all this big thing. Plus you get all these you get Firefly and Mr. Freeze, and Mr. Freeze is the second half, but you get a lot of name villains, and you watch Edward Nygma's decline into absolute madness, which is really good. And
was that good to watch?
Oh, it was really good, actually. Yeah, the episode in the second half where he kind of like goes on the run because he's like figured out he dates this girl. Do you remember Miss Kringle? And he like finally dates Miss Kringle.
Oh, like the secretary of the office that he liked.
Yeah, because he murdered her boyfriend.
Oh shoot!
And like disposed of his corpse.
Damn.
And like all this stuff. And she asks questions, and they put together, and he ends up killing her. And burying her body, and then kind of like enjoys that. So he kind of goes on a spree and steals stuff.
Oh, so he's cracked.
He's cracked. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've actually really enjoying like I felt like I'm actually watching like a scary portrayal of the Riddler, which I've never really felt reading the Riddler or watching him ever before.
Yeah, we've not really seen that. Definitely not in movies.
He's certainly smart, but he's also not like the most dangerous of Batman's villains. He's dangerous because he's super smart, but you always know that Batman's going to outsmart him, so the danger level never feels heightened. But this is a man that, when Batman's not in the room, could very well slash your throat and know how to bury you and leave clues because it's fun, but that's not necessarily the point, which is cool. And then so it kind of then builds to this crescendo with Arkham and all this stuff. I have a hard time remembering what happened in the first half of the season, but you'll just have to watch. And then the second half takes off with like Gallivant at the end of the first part of the season. Gallivant and Penguin.
Gallivant is a different show. That's a different show.
I love that show. So funny. So funny. I hope that gets renewed. It's probably not going to, but it probably didn't.
Wasn't this their
idea.
second season?
Yeah. I loved it. Gordon and Penguin murder Gallivant basically and dispose of his body in the river. And so like Jim, like people, like he's trying to cover it up and hide it. Jim's in like a super dark place. And then the second half is Hugo Strange, played by B.D. Wong, who is worth it. I'm telling you, it's worth watching it for him because he chews scenery like there's no tomorrow. He's so good. You know who BD Wong is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And like no tomorrow, he chews that scenery. And it's really, it's good. And then he learns how to reanimate corpses, basically. That's his whole thing. He's like creating these monsters down below Arkham to like reanimate all these things. And you're like, I wonder why he's doing this. And like, oh my God, what's happening? And like, you get he reanimates Fish Mooney. And he saves Mr. Freeze's life. No, she comes back at the very end of the season. No one made that joke still. 2 seasons now. Damn. So she's back. And Mr. Freeze and Fire, and part of like these he's like giving them none of them are like, they're all dying basically, they all keep dying. They don't stay alive, and he can't figure it out. It's because their psyche has nothing to grab onto. And so he creates these personas for them. So he creates Azrael. He reanimates Galvan and lets him believe he is Azrael, and like gives him the sword and the armor and like all this stuff to be like, go and do these things. And so he creates Firefly and Galvan and Mr. Freeze to an extent, and like all these villains, and he has Nigma help him for things. It's really well done, and you get all this Bruce and Selena and Alfred stuff that's really good, and discovering the Bat Cave, that sort of, you discover like a tiny enclave of the Bat Cave behind the fireplace, but but I don't think they realize there's a bigger cave underneath the house.
They don't know yet. Because remember, the end of last season was them,
right,
like opening behind the fireplace.
Yeah, but it doesn't like descend into a huge cave. It descends into like a basement, almost kind of thing,
like the Batman 66 Bat Cave, where it's just like a room.
Yeah, but that thing was sprawling.
Yeah,
that's
right.
it.
You're right.
No, this is quite tiny. And so, but because that's what was Thomas Wayne was working down there and trying to right the wrongs of the company and all this stuff. So, end of the season-ish, you discover that Hugo Strange is actually working for the Court of Owls, and they're reanimating stuff. Yeah, so you get some, and you see them. I don't like the masked aesthetic design. They changed it from the comics, which is fine, but it looks more like a Victorian fluff fur, feather mask, instead of like the ceramic look, which I thought would have been, I think is a better look. But I understand for like speaking purposes and whatever else, seeing somebody's mouth move is better for television. So I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to season 3. There's some really good stuff going on.
Nice.
And I don't feel like I'm, sometimes in Smallville, you'll be like, how are all these people showing up? And he's not Superman yet.
Mm-hmm.
And the show could feel like that, but to me, it doesn't. Because it's giving Bruce, like, if the crazies come before he's Batman, it gives him a very logical reason to also put on a costume and fight crime, as opposed to putting on a costume and then everybody else follows suit. He's rising to meet their standard and to fight them better by then, because the police just can't cut it.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm really liking it. And
nice.
My recap took a lot longer than we were. So I say we maybe talk about Tuesday night
on the CW.
Tuesday night on the CW for, another, 15 or so minutes. And then next episode we come back and talk about
Arrow and Legends.
Wednesday and Thursday.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So, Flash. A lot happened on this season of The Flash.
Yeah, it went by really fast.
It did. Went by in a flash.
Bazinga.
Hey, we're good at this. So season 1 left me with such high expectations, right? Like, beautiful finale. So going into this season, I was like, what are they going to do? Like, okay, we got Jay Garrick's helmet. Like, we know that's happening. And
right.
Yeah, right. Because that came through the breach at the end.
Right.
So this season was all about, there's 52 breaches all around Central City, and they all lead to an alternate Earth 2. And on that Earth, there's a Flash, and there are doppelgangers of everybody. You've got Barry has a doppelganger. Cisco has a doppelganger. Everybody has a doppelganger. And
you get a doppelganger, and you get a doppelganger.
Doppelgangers for everybody. And so, yeah, that's where we are. And you've got this mysterious figure, Zoom, who is terrorizing Earth 1 Central City. It's our Earth Central City. And Barry has to try and stop him, and we get the Harrison Wells from Earth 2 comes through the breach and tries to help Barry defeat Zoom.
Our Wells was evil, but you're just a dick.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. Cisco had some great one-liners again. But yeah, so we had them trying to work and first figure out who Zoom was and try to stop him. Zoom steals Barry's speed at one point, and his whole thing is he wants to be faster than Barry, and Barry has to.
He wants to be faster than any speedster in the multiverse.
Yes. He wants to be the fastest
not just Barry.
in the multiverse. You're right. Yes.
Yeah.
But part of that means taking down Barry.
Yeah.
And we get some interesting stuff where we see Killer Frost in this Earth 2, where we see an actual evil Killer Frost. We see Reverb, who's the evil version of Vibe.
Yep.
We see all these interesting characters who are working for Zoom, and then at the end it turns out that Zoom was actually Jay Garrick the whole time, or who we thought was Jay Garrick, Hunter Zolomon, and that we get Wally West introduced in this season and Jesse Quick. And at the end they have a run-in with the run-in with the particle accelerator, and presumably that's where they're going to get their powers next season.
Well, they even play with that idea, a little bit, where Joe tries to like give him the mug, or he drops the number 1 dad mug.
Yeah,
think Wally's going to catch it, and he doesn't.
Right.
And I was just like, I gave you that mug.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Yeah.
Great character moments. Henry Allen became kind of part of the group there. He got out of prison, and he's kind of part of the crime fighting group. But yeah, that reveal.
Team Flash.
I was gonna call them the Scoobies, but that's
a different thing.
That's Scooby Doo, but it's also.
I would have stolen Flash's speed if it wasn't for those blasted kids. Yeah.
So this season it definitely delivered. There was so much fan service. There was so much good storytelling. There were so many great character moments. This show is, a big emotional show.
Yeah.
It did a ton of that. Had a Kevin Smith episode.
That was the one I referenced, actually, was a Kevin Smith. That was the Kevin Smith episode.
The,
Broken
Mug.
His was episode 21. Yeah.
Yeah. Good episode. And then we end things where Barry gets his speed back. He, Zoom, says he wants to race him. So he does, and we get this very confusing, if you don't know the Flash stuff super well, which I don't know super well, but there are time remnants. So when you're running fast enough and you're traveling through time, you create a second copy of yourself. It's the person who, arrived on the scene in the first place, and the person who came back in time. And so in this, the way they're doing things is, you can kill your time remnant, or your time remnant can sacrifice himself.
Right, because they're fully thinking being. It's not like it's not a mirage or anything.
Right. It's you just from another time.
Yeah. So Barry's time remnant sacrificed himself to save everybody else. But that Barry that sacrificed himself is a real Barry who was fully ready to die to do this. So either you're in a great place to do that, or you're in a really terrible place to do that. And by the end of the season, we know that Barry's in a really terrible place, right? And so I don't think this season, to me, I don't think was as good as season 1. I think it definitely had its moments, but I think it felt a little jammed. And I thought Zoom's goal kind of changed a little too much as the show went, because it went from steal Flash's speed to I'm going to destroy the multiverse, which is a really big leap forward.
There's a big difference there.
Yeah.
I'm going to destroy all of space and time.
Yeah.
Because I wanna.
Right. And now, that being said, I liked the identity. I liked the Zoom reveal.
Yes.
Very much. I liked it because actually Teddy Sears never sat right with me as Jay Garrick. Like, the whole time I was like, it's cool that he's there, but there's something about it. I just it's not working for me. And I couldn't exactly figure out what it was. And that's because he was evil.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bad guy.
Yeah, he was the bad guy. And I thought he was actually unmasked and everything. He played it really well. He was very unhinged. That his origin episode was really good.
Yeah.
Like when he's about to be electrocuted or whatever he's supposed to, he's on death row and he's about to die and he gets saved by the lightning and all, like that was he looks really scary
and super cool.
Yeah, and like he really will show up and do anything. I think it's like just a few episodes into the season and he like breaks Barry's back and like does all this stuff, and it's like, but that Zoom doesn't stay. I think like his his feelings for Caitlin and his relationship there like kind of ebbs its way. You know what I mean? Like he gets a little soft almost.
Yeah, he has a soft spot for Caitlin that seems a little out of character, but they were consistent with it at least. Like once it was there, it stayed.
Yeah.
So I'll give them that. But yeah, it did just seem a little out of the blue and a little like, wait, if you're this heartless, how can you have a soft spot for this woman? Right. Yeah.
But
they definitely made a point of showing how she reminded him of his mother, and she reminded him of he watched his mother. He watched his father kill his mother in front of him, and we see him have flashbacks of that with some of the things that Caitlin says and does.
Yep.
On more than a couple of times, like 3-4 times, he has these very specific flashbacks based on like words she says remind her of things his mother said. So I think that's maybe why the soft spot is there partially too. I think he has romantic feelings for her, but he has this, this fondness for her because she also reminds him of his mother. Yeah. I think they did a pretty good job of establishing that.
Yes,
but I do agree with you on the whole that it does seem like if he's this heartless and he wants to kill the whole multiverse, why is he like, okay, but I'm going to keep you just handcuffed to this desk so you won't get hurt?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It feels like there's a little too much beauty inside the beast.
Yeah.
And so that didn't, but that being said, I think Reverse Flash is a really hard villain. I think they set him up and his motivation so very clear.
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to come close to that. Like that was it's a really well played out first season villain.
Totally.
But we also get there's so many DC characters that pop up in this show. You get a lot of the rogues, and with Heatwave and Cold before they go off to Legends, and Mark Hamill makes his return as the Trickster.
I forgot. Yes.
Yeah.
That was so early in the season that I did forget about it.
Christmas.
Yeah. That was an exciting treat. You had one nice thing happened at the end of the season then was Henry Allen, Barry's dad, Zoom killed him in front of Barry, trying to say
in the same place his mom died.
In the same place that his mom died, in the house where his mom died, and
that family that lives there.
Why is there a dead man in our house?
Yep.
And he did it because I had to watch one of my parents die. You're going to watch one of your parents die because he didn't watch Barry didn't watch his mom die. Right.
He was zoomed out of the house.
He was zoomed out of the house, so he never watched it.
He was flashed out of the house.
Exactly. Yes.
Can't use zoom as a verb.
That's very true. But yeah, so he's being forced sit here and watch. I'm going to make you watch. I'm going to kill your dad in front of you, and then you'll be like me. It's the whole we're not so different, you and I, trope. But so that was very sad, and that was kind of being hinted at for a little while, and it finally happened. I didn't have an attachment to Henry the way if he had pulled Joe into that house and stabbed Joe, I would have thrown my shoe at the television. I'd be inconsolable.
Yeah,
I'd still be crying about it now.
Yeah, I know. You can't kill Joe. He's the father. I love my father, but I love Joe just as much as I love my father. Maybe more because he's not a real father. Yeah.
So totally, I'd be I'd be a wreck. But they didn't do that. But the nice thing was that...
But you got a nice window into what it sounded like.
Pretty much. Yep. That's great. Yeah. It's like a Family Guy flashback. But they gave us this payoff where, in the end, Barry... Zoom has had this prisoner all season in this iron mask, and we don't know who the man in the iron mask was.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio. Sorry. I've been waiting all season to make that joke. Yes. Worth it.
There it is.
Totally worth it. Continue.
No, it was good. That was good.
Yeah.
And
It's only worth it if you know that Leonardo was in
was
the movie
the man in the Iron Mask. Yeah.
And if you didn't, I just totally ruined that movie for you.
Sorry. But in the end, it turns out that prisoner was the alternate Earth version, the doppelganger of Henry.
Okay, here's a good question, actually. I got this for so Henry, the doppelganger of Henry Allen, who is actually called Jay Garrick on his Earth. So who is the Flash on his Earth?
Correct.
Right, because Henry makes mention that his, his name, Barrett's like, his name's Jay Garrick. And I was like, Garrick, that's my mother's maiden name.
Right.
Which is funny to me that Barry didn't know that.
I thought I was like, you don't know your family names? Like,
yeah.
You're like, I didn't know that, Dad.
Yeah. Although I guess he was young.
And his dad was in prison his whole life.
And I guess that's not something that really comes up.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. All right, we'll give Barry a break on that one.
Yeah,
maybe.
Barry gets a slide. So, but so Henry goes back to his Earth, right? At the end.
He goes back to his Earth at the end. He's in full Flash,
which looked
costume,
awesome.
Which it was like an interesting mix between, like the Alex Ross Jay Garrick.
Yep.
And
you mean his painted? Yeah, I thought you meant the Kingdom Come one for a second. I was like, you mean the one that doesn't have a body?
Nope, not that one. Not that one. The Alex Ross Jay Garrick and the 90s Flash costume with the puffiness that
it had the puffiness, yeah.
And it's John Wesley Shipp himself in the costume, and it's this interesting mix of those two costumes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he puts on the Jay Garrick helmet.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah.
So that was really
he's
cool.
the appropriate age for Jay Garrick, too.
He is.
Yeah, and that's, So all of that is fine and sits well and all that. But here's the thing that connects to Supergirl for a second. Jay says at the end, he's like, I want to go back to my Earth. I think you would call it Earth 3.
Mm-hmm.
And my first thought was, isn't Supergirl's Earth 3?
So they never said it officially in the show that was in either show that was Supergirl's Earth 3.
Yeah.
Fans always assume we already have an Earth 1 or Earth 2, so we'll call this Earth 3.
Right.
But if it is, that's a really interesting point you raised there, yes.
Yeah. See, I didn't even think that he would go to back to her Earth. That actually didn't occur to me at all.
Okay.
I just thought that so if there's Earth 3, then what number do you assign Supergirl's?
I see.
Does that have other implications for the Supergirl universe?
I think Supergirl probably is a different Earth altogether. I thought you were saying that maybe they're the same Earth, which would be interesting, but I didn't think so.
No, I didn't think that at all.
I think they are separate Earths, and I think it would be really.
I mean, she could be Earth 2,747,000 for all we know, because there's infinite number. No, they said
infinite. You're right.
Yeah,
I was going to say maybe there's only 52, but you're right.
No,
they did
there's
say
infinite. Yeah.
So yeah, good.
The skies haven't turned red yet. Yeah.
They kind of turn red, but not.
But
it wasn't a crisis. Yeah.
The skies turned red. It's a crisis.
So
God, why are you fighting me?
It looks like we're. No, sorry, I'm not. We're friends here. It was Flashpoint reminiscent. Everything, the stuff that was happening.
Yes. Well, the end. Yeah, we can talk about the end. So, Barry and Iris are Iris is finally like, we can get together, and Barry's like, I'm not ready. I'm not in a good place right now. And I was like, sir, make yourself in a good place.
You are in love with her.
When Candace Patton or Iris West come to you and said, I'm ready, you make yourself available.
Yes.
Sir, I'm not in a good place right now. Shut up, Barry.
Spoiled millennial.
Shut up, Barry. Shut up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Like that. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So he's like, I was like, I'm like, sorry, I'm gonna go see my mom right now because I'm kind of emo right now, but I'm not gonna be because I'm gonna be in Flashpoint. I'm like, oh my god, it's so wrong.
Flashpoint Paradox.
So I don't think the whole season's gonna be Flashpoint Paradox. I think they're gonna do a couple episodes and be like, I'll fix this, and then they'll go and continue on with another season.
I agree, but yeah, what ends up happening is he goes back in time to when his mother was murdered, and now he went back in time at the end of last season as well.
Right.
So there's little Barry who gets sped away. Then there's Barry from last season who shows up to fight Zoom or Reverse Flash, but not stop anything, and watches it happen. Talks to his mom and gets to talk to her before she passes away, but doesn't stop anything. And then there's the Barry from this season who shows up and does stop
mom.
the murder.
Yeah,
and
because they have that nice moment where instead of Barry telling him to no, or anything like that, it's still I did something about it because you were wimping out in the corner over there,
and then wimping out in the corner, Barry disappears, a la Back to the Future from that Polaroid.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Literally fades away
with a smile.
He's like, "Oh, you saved mom!"
Fading
Yay.
with a smile.
And his mom's all like, don't hurt me. You look like the yellow guy.
Yeah. No, Barry. No, Mom. It's your son. The Flash.
Barold.
Don't you remember having a baby named The Flash? No? Okay, Barold. So
Barry's got to be
Barold.
for something.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It's just Barold. It's your son, Barold. Why would I name my child after an object with a D at the end of it? Yeah.
No, Mom, it's like Harold, but with a... Never mind.
So before we go into what could be season 3, I do for a second want to talk about how the wraiths, the time wraiths, come for Zoom, and he clearly turns into the Black Flash, which is super cool.
Yep.
Black Flash is basically, like the Speed Force's Death incarnate.
Yes.
Which could be kind of confusing with the Black Racer, who is the New God's Death incarnate, which is also largely associated with the Flash.
Which could also be confusing because Zoom wears black. Like there's all these.
It's like a grayish blue.
Maybe.
I loved that costume though. It was
super
super cool. Yeah, I loved it. And I loved Tony Todd's. I loved that he changed. They had the voice change, and it wasn't just like a vocal distortion. It was a whole other actor doing it. Candyman was it was pretty scary. But anyway, so predictions for season 3. The big thing with Flashpoint is that, Thomas Wayne is Batman and he helps Flash, get his powers back and all this stuff. But I don't think you have access to any of that.
I agree. Unless this is how they merge Supergirl into the fold and all that stuff, and they have some kind of a mini crisis or not even a Flashpoint paradox that resets some continuity and brings the universes together.
That's what I thought. I wouldn't necessarily call it a crisis, but I did think that at the end of a Flashpoint there is some kind of that not necessarily because the Flashpoint doesn't change universes. It doesn't change all the multiverses.
No,
it changes just that world.
So, I mean, yeah, but this is a different story, so they can use it however they want.
Oh yeah, certainly, of course, they can do whatever they want, but that's possible. I would also. I don't see because they're all connected. Flash, at least right now, Flash, Arrow, and Legends are all connected. If they're going in a Flashpoint direction, that means Arrow season 5 and Legends season 2 would also, in some way, have to then be
impacted. And
I don't think that's what they're going with.
And Supergirl season 2 as well would need to.
Because we'll talk about the ends of Legends and Arrow next episode.
Time, yeah.
But you would have to those seasons would have to be dictated on another show, meaning that you'd because there are people who watch Flash but don't watch the rest, or people who watch Arrow and they don't watch the other ones.
That's
and
true.
And Legends and not the other ones. So I don't think it's a smart move to make them all parallel.
There's ways. I give them credit enough to think that they could do it in a way that's not disruptive. The same way they had Flash and Supergirl crossover, but if you don't watch both shows, it was fine. There's creative ways to do it without having to disrupt it.
The other alternative is to all the alternate stuff happens on the Flash's show, and Legends and Arrow continue forward as they would. But that for us watching all of them, that eliminates the danger or whatever, because we know it. The drama, because we know it's going to be okay because those shows are still going on as normal.
We can speculate all day, but the point is we don't know what's going to happen next.
But that's the fun. Why you got to be on bum on the speculation? That's the fun part.
Because we've been talking for 35 minutes.
Oh, have we?
People want to go home.
Okay, well, they're probably already now.
No, Tim, you don't understand. People, if this podcast doesn't end, they just sit in their driveway. They got home already. They've been home for 20 minutes, but they sit in their driveway until this ends before they can go inside the house. They haven't seen their kids in days.
You listen to podcasts weird. Also have a weird sense of time. Yeah.
Doesn't everyone do that?
Days and 35 minutes, the same thing.
They're binge listening.
You can find us at Beer with Geeks on Facebook and Gmail and Twitter. You can rate us and review us on iTunes or Google Play or Overcast or Satchel. Do all the things that help all of us. And Frank, do you have any remaining words that are not dumb or that are super smart?
Oh, bye, Barold.
Oh, God. All right. Well, until next time.
Cheers.